and welcome to EFT Conversations, Practitioners in Focus. My name is Katie Walker. I'm an EFTI International Master Trainer and EFT Practitioner, and I love this opportunity to connect with amazing people and people who I've had the privilege and pleasure of getting to know and working with in different formats. This is a space where we get to talk about all things EFT, people's journey, the lives that they're helping. And I have the good fortune of introducing Kylie from EFT for Wellness to be my next guest on this space to chat about all things EFT. So Kylie, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so pleased to be here.
And I'm so grateful for you to be here. Now, Kylie, you know, I have a series of questions that I do like to ask. And the first question, because I want to be able to make sure that we get the chance to really allow for you to talk about your journey and the group of people that you work with and your focus area, but also just to get a sense for who you are, because we have a lot of EFT practitioners globally and all wanting to do wonderful things and support people with change, doing their own work as well. So it's really important that people get to know who is who in the big wide world, so that if people are seeking support, they can go, oh, you know what, I saw something the other day, or I heard about this Kylie chick, and I think she's the person that needs to be my person to work with. So I want to be able to make sure we capture all of that. So my first question for you, honey, is can you share your personal journey with the EFT and how that has actually changed things for you in your world?
Katie, I think you're right. I think so many EFT practitioners begin with their own journey. And through that journey and through the impact that EFT has had in their life or transformed their life, then certainly with me, I was just so amazed by the simplicity of it and how impactful it was in my life that I wanted to share it. I wanted to learn it. I still want to learn it. It's an ongoing process, as is living. Yeah. But really, for me, when I was first introduced to it, it was probably back in about 2016. And I had been referred by another practitioner, a complementary practitioner, and I was really stuck on something. It was an emotional issue. It was around the possibility of adopting a second child, and there was a child stuck in a system. And I was just, I couldn't move forward. And there was, it wasn't a matter of being logical about it. There was all these emotional feelings for our family, the child, things like that. And so I was introduced to an EFT practitioner, and really through probably 2 or 3 sessions, I started gaining clarity. I started to be able to put words to how I was feeling. I kind of shut down because I didn't know how to talk about it. Yeah. And then once she was able to help me, recognize the emotions and begin to release the emotions, my heart felt a lot freer, and my mind could then work out where I was going to put my energies into that process. And then ultimately we didn't adopt that child, but it did spark my interest in EFT.
Wow.
It really wasn't, though, until COVID, which had such an impact, the pandemic had such an impact in the world, that it became more of a regular and daily practice. I think up until that point, I thought it was a big issue thing. But then, of course, COVID took all of us into a collective big issue.
Big thing. Yes.
And so really that was when I really felt this overwhelm of, and the feeling of uncertainty and anxiety. We had been living in Hong Kong at that point for about maybe 20 years or something like that. It started, not too far from Hong Kong. There was a lot of uncertainty what was going on around the world. And I am so grateful to who ultimately became my trainer, Falguni Mather, in Hong Kong. She was offering free, I don't know if it started with COVID, but free 1 hour long group EFT sessions for people to deal with their emotions that were coming up during COVID. And so this was, in a group setting online, 1 hour, and I joined and I was amazed. Like what it did to help my nervous system in that 1 hour was transformative. As it was the first technique, I guess, the first self-help technique that had truly worked. And of course, it also connected me to a community of people. We were going through that isolation feelings, and it connected me to others who were also experiencing these feelings as well through the group. So I'm very grateful.
Imagine if everyone had tapping through COVID. Oh,
absolutely, yeah. And then really from there, I started using it as a daily self-help tool, and I did the training with Falguni. She's not a master trainer. She's a trainer and a mentor, and she's a practitioner.
She's a master trainer.
She's a master trainer. Let me correct that. Thank you. And it was also at the time for me that I was working on my health in terms of I was perimenopause, going on menopause. I was turning 50, which is a big journey for people. That big 50 feels very exciting and daunting for people.
Yeah.
And really, as I look back in that process, I call it a midlife review. COVID had sparked it. It was a beautiful storm of menopause, turning 50. We'd been living away for a long time. And really through, my history was that I had worked with charities for 20 years in Hong Kong, and I'd always been drawn to helping others.
Yeah.
But and I'd started my own charity helping migrant mums with their newborn children, and I'd run that for many years. And I was really, the injustice was the thing that really triggered me. And I just wanted to be able to help others through, the fear and the sadness that they faced. And this kind of all circles back because I didn't really have the tools to look after myself, to help me live the life that I wanted to live.
Yeah.
And EFT had become a critical tool.
I love that, darling.
Yeah.
Oh, honey. And you know what just came to my mind? Thank you so much for sharing that. I love that journey. And I actually think I was in one of those groups with Falguni. I remember I had this image of you on the screen in one of those chapping groups. So there you go.
Really? That's so fun.
We've known each other for a long time. Okay. Yeah. So you were...
Can I just say before we go on, and I know we need to go on, but for me, that midlife review and I think EFT opened up just a level of self-understanding and self-confidence that I had never had access to before, and that led to a happier, joyful, and it also led to a big decision that myself, my Canadian-born wife, and our adopted daughter of 15 years old moved back to Australia, which was a huge decision for us. But not for EFT helping with blocks and concerns and, the big transition, how it would impact us all, because Hong Kong had been such a nest for us. And even though there was so much to be gained by moving to Australia, I feel like EFT helped me in that transformative journey that ultimately led back here. And I know absolutely with certainty this is where we're meant to be. So that was kind of, the transformative piece.
Yes, huge.
In the big life picture. Yeah. And then the daily piece is, stops me from really wanting to shout at my daughter as we're running late to go to school every day, things like that.
Calm household, but I love that because
absolutely improved all relationships within my household, all the people I loved. I mean, just so many benefits.
I love that, Kylie. So I reckon that could be a good segue into the area of specialization of the people that you love to support.
I do. And
Mm.
I think it kind of circles back to, once you've had that transformation within yourself and you see so many others that are aspiring for that type of transformation, and that's who I was attracting, people that are kind of mainly female, mainly in that 40 to, midlife era, whether that be midlife 60s or say, my oldest client has been closest to 80. My youngest client has probably been about 35. And really it's helping people at that stage of their life that they're ultimately looking for greater fulfillment. It
Yeah.
often comes at a time when big transitions are happening in life. Maybe it's aging parents, maybe it's teenagers or young adult children, or that moving out of home. For some, it might be separation of relationship. Then there's the physical menopause going on. It might be, with menopause, sometimes you have new insights about what you want to do with your life that are different from the past. It might be a transition in career. What's my next chapter?
Yeah.
So I love working with people who are ready to do that inquiry, that self-understanding, work out what has worked and what doesn't work anymore, and are ready to have a happier, more joyful life.
Oh gosh, Carl, how lucky are they? And the thing is, you can speak to that from experience and
And
the importance, like your use of EFT to be able to make some of those big, chunky life decisions doesn't mean that one has to specialize as you go through your own EFT journey in the area that it's impacted you, but it obviously still lands in your heart, and
yeah,
that's who you want to be supporting, and I think that's absolutely beautiful.
and some of my clients have chronic illnesses that often
Yeah.
comes out at this stage of life as well. And it's not that I've experienced chronic illness, but the technology of EFT can
Yeah.
really help those things anyway. And it just happens that, this is the time that, our bodies, really start to talk to us a bit more loudly.
Yes. Yeah. So, gosh, if only we had EFT when we were younger, or our parents did their thing, and anyway, that's just a different world, isn't it? Um, so, are you happy to share with me what you have come across in terms of people's most common misconceptions about EFT?
Hmm.
What have you experienced and happy to share?
Yeah, it's funny because misconceptions sometimes, it's not blanket, right? So certainly I have used many EFT tapping scripts in the past, and it's a great way of kind of just getting your head around what's going on and seeing how others do it and stuff like that. But I often think, if I was going to the gym, I wouldn't just follow the person's program next to me, because that's not my body and that's not my goals. So I really need to target it to my own body and goals. Otherwise, at worst, I hurt myself, or I just don't achieve what I want to achieve. So tapping scripts, I think, are a wonderful way of learning, just about it and starting to uncover some of the mystery. But you have to personalize and get more specific to what your goals are and what you're struggling with. Um,
Can I just pause you
other
there for a
thing,
sec? Can I just pause you?
yeah,
I love that analogy. I love it. I think that is so important. Just to pause for a second, because you're not going to use someone else's gym program for yourself until you do some sort of assessment and just understanding and what does he want to achieve. I love that, Kylie. That's brilliant.
if you can't touch your feet because your hamstrings are so tight, then
Yes.
you are not going to be deadlifting. It's just, there's different things, right? And that's kind of what it is. Like, what do we need to loosen up first so
Yeah.
that we're ready to look at that? And a lot of the because it works in terms of it gets attention, it moves straight into the, I feel positive about this, like affirmations, tapping through affirmations. And that's kind of another misconception, that if we tap on the negative, it's going to make it worse. And certainly
Yeah.
that's not, we have to start with what's real. Our nervous system knows what's real, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to be happy with
Doing
Falguni
fine.
used to always say, the working through the difficult emotions is like the dirt on the floor, but we have
Yeah.
to sweep through that dirt before we can see that beautiful clean floor. And that's, we can't start with the positive affirmations. We have to work through the negative feelings, and certainly working with a practitioner gives you the safety to know you are not going to go in too deep, too fast, anything like that. Like, it's a safe space to
Yes.
work on the negative.
Yep.
And of course, we spend a lot of our life unconsciously avoiding thinking negative, and yet we have that chitter chatter all the time. We're just giving a voice to the chitter chatter,
Yeah.
even though that voice says, that you're not good enough. And that's, we're going to tap on that, and then we're going to get to some origin stories of where that belief felt true, that it
Yeah.
is no longer true anymore, or we have a new opportunity to interpret it.
Yeah. I love that. But as you said, the body's going to know anyway. So
Yes.
regardless, we need to just honor what's in the
So
soul.
there's many others, Katie, and including, there's lots of evidence that EFT literally has physiological impacts in the body, and there's many clinical studies. There's EFT International has a whole database of it. It reduces cortisol, it brings about more relaxation in the nervous system. It makes us feel like we can access, parts of our thinking that were offline because we were just so stressed about something. Often we
To
didn't
your
realize
point,
that.
100%. And circling back to in 2016 for you making that big decision
Yeah,
about adopting, like you weren't able to
I
access
couldn't
the
get to
part
the
of
logical. Yes, I
yeah,
couldn't. I was so hijacked by the emotional.
yeah, beautiful. Thank you, my love. Um, and if someone is working with you, can you kind of talk through like the process and what that would look like the typical steps that happen if they're
Yeah, so, oh gosh, everyone is different, as you can imagine.
Mhm.
So there's the process, which is the same, and then working with everyone individually, which is different.
Yeah.
The process is, they might be interested in working on a particular issue, and we'll have a conversation just to work out whether we're a good match. Am I the person they want to work
Yeah.
with? And do I think, given their problem, that it's someone that I can work with, or could there be someone better that I refer to? I get a better understanding about the background and the supports they have available. And then we set some goals together. What would it feel like, or what would success look like for you?
Yeah.
What's the big goal, and then what's the baby steps, and
Yeah.
then once they, and that's a process too, right? You asked that question on day one
Mm.
versus after you've had your first session. They still get to go and have a look at, what would, when they go home and they realize, oh, actually no, weight loss or something like that. I thought my biggest problem was this. Well, actually, now that I've lived it and I've been thinking about it, it's something else. So then we start working on, what are your blocks to changing that, or, and really for everyone, it is, tuning into a lot of what otherwise goes on unconsciously in their body, and in their, that connection between the mind and body, tuning into the feelings they're having when we bring in a block or something that they're reaching for, that they're saying, no, I can't, I'll never be rich, there's a yes, but,
Yeah.
so, and then, working gently, safely, with them once they've tuned in. Sometimes we're just tapping on the tuning in, the sensations that they're feeling in the body. Maybe it's something that they've never thought about before. Oh my gosh, I am feeling something in my body. And
Mm.
then maybe from there, we'll go deeper. And, what does it remind you of? Have you felt that before? Is this the first time that you felt overwhelmed by that? Like, oh no, I mean, this goes back. Yeah, I've felt this here and here and here and here. And they become potential experiences, the more specific we can get.
Yeah.
And it's not that we have to work on the 1,000 times
Everything.
that they haven't felt good enough or whatever,
Yeah.
but by working on some of the key ones, they
Yeah.
will start to experience this kind of benefit, this, this domino effect, that it's affecting all of them.
Yeah.
And, and for some people, it might be very specific, and, 4 or 5 sessions might be all that they need to be at that next stage. And then off they go. And then when they hit another block or another, more self-understanding, I hadn't appreciated, I'm still stuck in this way, they'll come back. For other people, it might be, I want to just keep doing this, like you go to your osteo, like once a month or something, for body maintenance. And certainly the first thing it's still recording, so
Gotcha.
I lost you.
You're back, darling. I don't know what happened then. So
I don't know either, but I'm back.
Hello. You were actually going to say the first thing that you do, I think. Did you keep talking?
Yeah.
Someone was hearing you. But you know what? Let me just sort of summarize that. It's a thorough process. So they meet with you first. Are we the right for each other? Then you determine where they want to focus. You're going to kind of navigate that. They might shift here. They might stay on the initial part.
Might go back and review.
And then also, I love the fact that you do offer like maintenance sessions for people. And I'm assuming that with people that you've worked with before, that you'd be
absolutely. Yeah.
I love that.
And it is like anything. I mean, there are shifts that happen in one session, but it's like going to the gym. Yes, the shift is, oh my gosh, I did it.
Yes.
But actually, I've got to go back and do it again, and I've got to build, a little bit of stretching in the middle to my everyday practice, and it grows. It grows on it. Yeah. It literally is an energy that grows on itself. So what I was going to say is that one of the first things we do is teaching the points and teaching the tapping points, and teaching them the very simplified process of how to practice this on their own.
Yes, because that's
right from day one.
Yeah.
And that encouragement to do so, right?
Yes, because we want them to walk away knowing that they can use this themselves. That's the power of.
It is a beautiful self-help tool. Yes.
So, mindful of time, I am curious. I want to make sure we cover the rest of the questions. So, can you give me one remarkable story, just one that stands out to you that you're like, oh, I love this person?
Yes. So I I think one of the clients that really touched my heart was, she had lived in an abusive relationship for decades. And on the day that her youngest child moved out of home, she left home and never came back, left with the clothes on her back. And so she came to me as she was approaching going into mediation, settlement mediation. So she had not faced her formerly abusive husband. And she was just terrified.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely terrified. And part of it was, she had this list of things that were quite sentimental to her that she wanted to have out of the family home. And she knew that this would be an area that he could torment her with, right, by not giving it to her or having thrown them out or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so, through a series of sessions leading up to the mediation, we were able to identify that these things have connections to good memories. And once she had been able to release this fear of not accessing those good memories, and we found a space in her heart for those amazing memories, because it wasn't all bad, right? She had 2 beautiful children.
Yeah.
And she was able to let go of this attachment to those things, and therefore let go of this terror of being tormented through this process. and just, you know, and I remember the visualizations that she had in and around her body, and how much stronger and more confident it was preparing to go into that mediation, which carried her through, right? And then of course she had the ability of doing that, you know, all the way going in,
Yes,
taking the edge off this nervousness.
Oh,
So that, you know, I was
very,
really
very
happy
powerful.
for her.
I love that. Thank you, honey. That's awesome. And what advice would you give someone who is new to EFT and is considering this as their one of the tools that they have in their little toolkit?
I feel like that's asking a question to the choir who loves to sing, but I would say give it a go.
Yeah, give it a go.
Start simple.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to just be specific with the simple little things. You know, even though I got cut off at that corner, or I feel really bad that I cut someone off, you know, I can kind of feel it in my chest a little bit. I hate it when I'm, you know, when I don't follow the rules, whatever comes to you, you know, I accept myself and how I feel. You know, start with this, with those sort of things. Notice where you are before you start. It's like, yeah, that's really bugging me. I can't let it go. And, you know, we have a process of just monitoring and putting a number to that. We call it, you know, a subjective understanding of where we started. And then, you know, tapping, getting your own self-evidence, you know. Oh, I hate it when I cut people off. You know, it makes me feel like I'm not this or that or whatever. I feel it in my body. It's tingly. And then once you've done a couple of rounds of tapping, then notice what's changed.
Yeah. Beautiful.
You know, so it's really just, and just, yeah, paying attention and practicing regularly. And once it's almost like you're building your own evidence, and you might be more confident with it, and you're like, I'm ready to go further, then find a practitioner that speaks to you, that speaks your language, that is, you know, focusing on the type of person that you are, and, you know, that says some keywords around, I'm going through that too. So find a practitioner, and it never, the self-work never stops, but the practitioner allows you to go deeper and heal really core issues and beliefs that are really showing up in your everyday.
Yeah, and that sometimes doing it by yourself is more difficult. But I love the fact that we can, no matter what is going on, we can use it ourselves day in, day out. But the practitioner can just help guide that. I love that. All right. How can people find you? What if someone's sitting there going, oh, she's my person. She's speaking to me. How do they find you?
So I think the best way right now is through my email, which is at hello@EFT for Wellness, which is my organization name, .org.
Awesome. So
hello@EFT
EFT
for Wellness.org.
.org. I love it. And I'll make sure that when this video goes up, it's going to have those contact details anyway.
In the show notes. I love it when they put stuff in the show notes.
I've got it. It's going to be in the show notes, but going in the show notes. I love it. And our final question, lovely. If you could have used, or still could, I don't know who you're going to talk to me about, but if you could use EFT to help any famous person, who would that be and why?
It is so hard a question, Katie, because so many people in our history would have benefited from self-understanding and self-compassion that leads to also a compassion and understanding of others. And so it's hard not to pick, you know, one of the dictators that caused such injustice for so many people. But I'm not going to pick a dictator right now.
Great.
I'm going to bring it into the everyday, the childhood experience, and the person that comes to mind, I'm not sure.
Drum roll.
It's Big Bird. It's Big Bird. It's Sesame Street Big Bird. And I feel if young children could have access to see this happening, this process happening, if non-threatening characters like Big Bird could be teaching. We wouldn't just have nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I'm going to go and eat worms, which is what I really feel like was my coping mechanism when I was a child. You know, even if we tapped as we sang that, nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I'm going to go and eat worms.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Were you actually eating worms as your coping mechanism, or you're going, that's
No, and I think,
something
again,
else?
that's part of the contradiction, right? Because it gives you a giggle at the end. I'm not actually going to eat worms. And,
Yeah.
you know, there is a contradiction within the EFT process. Even though I feel like crap,
Yes.
I'm also okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if we could see Big Bird working with Groucho on Sesame Street, that's a whole generation. And whatever it is in every culture, whoever the Big Bird is for the children, you know,
Yes.
then we can start to bring this into our lives earlier. And, you know, the
I think
transformation, the earlier, you know, and it will change people's lives, and that
I love that.
changes community.
Carly, I love that answer. I think, is Sesame Street still going? I think you need to write a proposal.
Yeah.
The what are they? ABC? Who? No, I don't even know
Look,
what.
the Wiggles are still going, so you know we could get it into the Wiggles too. I think you get a lovely song with it.
Yes,
Love it.
yes.
They're already into a lot of actions.
Oh my God. Alrighty. That's your next gig. Get on
They're
to
not
the
as historical, they're still going, but yeah, I
That is
certainly
even
remember.
better. That is perfect. Get onto that one. Kylie, that's been so much fun. And thank you so much for joining. And I love your enthusiasm. I love your passion. I love your journey. I love the niche and the women that you look after. They're very, very fortunate. So if anyone is interested and wants to know more about Kylie, at this stage, go to hello@eftforwellness.org. And Kylie, thank you for your time. Really appreciate you. Appreciate
Oh,
you.
and Katie, I just, you know, I want to send the love back to you. I really appreciate what you do for so many practitioners, and then on through them helping others. And you are just the most beautiful person that we all appreciate having in our lives. You're an absolute blessing. So thank you.
Oh,
And thanks for including me. I really appreciate it.
oh, wholeheartedly, you gorgeous soul. Thank you so much, darling. Thank you.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.